I am Natasha Ngan and I'm the author of Girls on Paper and Fire. I'm super excited for you guys to discover this book. It's a very special and important book to me. It's set in an Asian fantasy world where a demon king takes human girls as his concubines, and it is a love story between two of those girls and basically follows their journey of self-discovery and how far they're willing to fight for their love and the things that they believe in. It's really important to me that we have this kind of representation in fiction, especially YA, so I'm really happy that this book is coming to you. So the world of Ikehara is really a love letter to my heritage. I'm mixed Chinese and English, and my Chinese side is Malaysian Chinese. So I actually grew up between the UK and Malaysia, and there is just so much that I love about my Asian side in there. The food, just the culture, it's so different, and I wanted to bring that real sense of this kind of melange of cultures that we have in Malaysia into Ikehara. So I can't exactly remember when the first idea came to me, but I remember when the first line came to me. There is a tradition in our kingdom, and that came to me when I was in a yoga class, and I'd been wanting to write something that represented myself and my experience of growing up mixed race, and just had this sort of rich fantasy world that I hadn't really felt like I'd seen in current fantasy. And yeah, I was just lying there, it popped into my head, I rushed home, I started writing the first chapter, or the prologue, which is pretty much exactly as it is now. And from there I did so much research. Girls it is a fantasy, there's a lot of historical influence in there, and real world influences as well from Malaysian cultures. So we have Chinese, Indian and Malay mixed in. Also the fact that I am mixed and I have my British side as well. So you can't quite pinpoint exactly where Ikehara culture is inspired from, and I really like that. It's for diaspora kids like me. I really love reading YA fantasy. Obviously that's like totally my jam, that genre, and some of my favourite authors currently are Laini Taylor. Just absolutely love her world building, and her writing is so lush, and I think I said earlier it's just like swimming in honey when you read her stuff, so love her. Also really love Leigh Bardugo, currently rereading Six of Crows at the moment, which I do not recommend if you're trying to write your own book, because it feels hard to compare with that. I also really love Philip Reeve's writing, Mortal Engines. The film's coming out I think it's this winter, and yeah, I love that kind of any book that has this big expansive world that you can really lose yourself in. Growing up I was also a fan of The Edge Chronicles by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddle. And outside of books I'm also super inspired by anime. I grew up watching anime. I also grew up watching like K-dramas and Chinese kind of soap operas, so I think there's a little bit of influences of that in Girls, and also love Miyazaki films. Spirited Away is my favourite. I think representation is super important in fiction, and especially YA, because when you're growing up, especially, well for me anyway, reading was a way that I came to understand the world, and I came to understand myself. And so having stories where you can see yourself represented just really helps with that process of self-discovery. And I also think it helps us learn about other people as well, and other points of view in other situations.